Okay, welcome everyone. I'm glad to have you join us today. My name is Kate Marusa, and I am the Assistant Director for International Students here at UHARP. Today I'm going to review some of the immigration rules that you need to know while you're studying in the U.S. I'll also give you an overview of the International Center, and I will walk you through how to complete the SEVIS registration, which for fall 2020 is online. And if you have any questions, you can send us an email. The contact information will be at the end of the presentation. As a reminder, this information is for students who will be studying inside the U.S. this fall 2020. Anyone who is outside of the U.S. And studying remotely online for fall 2020 does not need to follow the immigration regulations, so you don't need to worry about this until you arrive physically in the U.S. Okay, so you're looking at an overview of our International Center here. Our director is Nicole Kirker-Stewart there on the top. I'm Kate Marusa, the Assistant Director for International Students. Megan Murphy-Rennie is our Assistant Director for Education Abroad, and Maritza Liu is the International Program Coordinator. You'll likely see Maritza when you come to the International Center. She sits in our front lobby area along with any of our student workers, and she can answer a lot of your basic questions about student services. Megan handles study abroad for our office. Our office, we have many opportunities to study throughout the world. And our office also works with faculty on exchange programs and curriculum development. That's handled by Nicole and Megan and a little bit of Maritza. But most of you will probably be stopping by and need to meet with me. I'm the Assistant Director for International Students, and most of my work is with the Immigration and Student Services for International Students. So I look forward to meeting you at some point on campus. Just to review some of the services that our office offers, like I said, immigration is probably number one. So any F1 or J1 visa questions, along with counseling and referrals. Our office is the university liaison with the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State. We also offer educational and support programs for international students, and we'll help you with various things like obtaining a driver's license or a state ID. We have information on that process, and we also provide a letter for you. And the same thing with on-campus and off-campus employment. You'll need a social security number. Anything that has to do with employment, you need to stop by our office. We should be the first stop. Okay, so the core of this presentation today is immigration. And as I said before, as the liaison with the government, my job is to help and support you while you're here. But it's also my job to report to the government. So if you're not doing your job in the U.S., I'm not going to be able to help you. So it's your legal responsibility to stay in status and maintain your legal status while you're here. There's a lot of rules. We might not be able to cover every situation or every detail just in today's session. So you're going to become familiar today, and then you need to ask for help. Stop by, ask any questions. Always ask first, and we're here to help you along the way. So attending today's meeting is definitely the first step. We'll review these basic rules, and then we'll show you how to complete the SEVIS registration, which is the first thing you need to do to get started as an F1 student. Okay, so what is SEVIS? I've been talking about this word. Maybe you've heard it before, maybe you haven't. It stands for the Student Exchange Visitor Information System. This is a database online and it reports directly to DHS, the Department of Homeland Security. So most of the information that you see on your I-20 that you received from our office is on your SEVIS record inside this database. That's the record that I maintain. It has your personal information, your address, a foreign one and a U.S. one, financial information, everything about what you're studying, if you're enrolled full-time, part-time, your major, any disciplinary actions. Hopefully there's none. Any extensions, and also when you graduate, we report that. Employment is a big one. Employment has to be, if you're working off campus, it has to be recorded in SEVIS. So you need to talk to our office. I'll go into more details about that. Termination, hopefully this doesn't happen, but when you're legal, your SEVIS record is called active. So when I'm talking to you throughout your time at the University of Hartford, hopefully we're talking about an active SEVIS record. If you violate or you do something that is against the rules of your visa, your SEVIS record will be terminated, which is not good at all. So you want to avoid being terminated. The way to avoid it is to follow all the rules that we're going to talk about today. And if you have a spouse or a child here with you on an F2 visa, their information as a dependent would also be listed on your SEVIS record. Okay, so some of the first basic rule that you need to follow while you're here is regarding your enrollment and your full-time status, okay? You have to be enrolled each semester, fall and spring, for 12 credits as an undergraduate or 9 credits for most graduate programs. And the summer or the winter is optional. So you can take as many or as few or no credits during the summer. But we're talking about fall and spring, you need to be full-time. And you also want to keep in mind that if you withdraw from a class or you take an incomplete, those credits no longer count. So if you're registered full-time at 12 credits and you decide you're not doing well in one class, so you would rather withdraw or take an incomplete and finish it later, you're going to drop less than 12. Those credits will go away, and that's not good. That's a violation of your status, and you cannot stay legal. So you need to make sure that doesn't happen. If that's happening, that's something you need to come and talk to me about. Sometimes there are a few exceptions when you can be part-time, but that's something we would have to talk about. Most of the time when you're in the U.S., you're going to have to be full-time, so keep that in mind. If you are in the English language program or the pathway program, they are considered full-time, but they vary by number of credits and hours, and you can talk to us personally about your situation there. Okay, another important part of immigration are online courses. So the coronavirus has impacted F1 regulations for the fall semester, and you are allowed to take more classes online than usually allowed. Therefore, for this first semester, fall 2020, you must be enrolled in a hybrid or an in-person course, but the rest of your classes can be online. There's no rule or limit to how many credits or hours. It's just important that you avoid a class schedule that's fully 100% online. So most undergraduate students don't have the option to be 100% online unless you specifically requested it. So undergrads, you probably don't have a fully online schedule. Graduate students, if you did have an online schedule, you were most likely placed into a 1-credit hybrid course that's been designed for the fall to be compliant with regulations. However, if you're looking at your schedule and you think that all of your classes are online, just send us an email privately and we will look into getting that fixed for you. And that's just for fall 2020. In general, okay, non-COVID times, which hopefully return to normal in 2021, you'll be allowed to register for just one online course that's 3 credits. Okay, so Remember, you have to maintain full-time status, so usually 12 or 9 credits, and 3 of those 12 or 9 credits can be online. The rest have to be in person. You also want to keep in mind that you have to physically be attending classes all semester. So some of our programs, especially at the graduate level, have 7-week courses, which is great. But you need to make sure that you are in classes from the start, from September until December, or from January until May, physically attending. If you are taking 7-week classes and you put all of your physical classes the second half of the semester and you start with 1 online class, this is not okay. You have to physically be there all semester. So keep that in mind and always reach out. We're here to help you, and we'll work with your academic advisor to make sure you have a schedule that is compliant for your visa. During the summer or winter term, you can enroll in as many online courses as you wish. If you remember before, you don't have to worry about full-time enrollment during the summer. So summer is optional. You can take no classes. You can take as many as you want. They can be online or not. Okay, another important part here is that you need to keep your address up to date. So if you remember, your address is reported into the SEVIS system. And right now, we can update your address when you make the update into your self-service account. Our office is notified, and we'll make the necessary changes to your record. If you have any concerns, you can also email us directly and let us know. And periodically, we might email you to confirm your address. Sorry, I'm saying address, but it's also your phone number and your email. Any of that personal contact information has to be accurate in there. You can use your UHART email, or you can use a separate email, whichever you would like. We can only place one, and that's going to be the official one on your SEVIS record. It's not very often, but every once in a while, the Department of Homeland Security, the government, they might try to reach out to you via mail. So it's very important that they have the correct address to do so. If you live on campus at the University of Hartford, you need to include your mailbox number. Otherwise, the mail is going to come for you and it won't know where to go. It could be returned. Things could be delayed. Same thing if you are living off campus. We want to have the correct zip code, the correct apartment number, any of those details. You want to really double check. And you have 10 days to let us know when you change. So if you are in one apartment and you decide to live with some new friends you've made mid-semester, you have to let us know within 10 days so we can update that. Okay, travel. I hope that once you're settled in for the fall semester, you won't be traveling too much, as there's many things to consider right now regarding the coronavirus, quarantine, and testing. Hopefully you'll settle in here in Hartford. However, as travel begins to open up as an F1 student, there's important things to remember. If you are going to travel within the U.S., you're free to do so without any special permission. You don't need any documents. But of course, we recommend always be safe. Tell a friend where you're going, when you're going, where you'll be. And you may wish to bring your passport and documents with you, but always keep them in a safe place. You don't want to lose these important documents. It's important to have identification on you if you run into trouble. So for some of you, that is your passport. That's the ID that you need to use. However, if you apply for a driver's license or a Connecticut state ID, this would also be considered a valid ID, so it depends on your situation. Your University of Hartford ID is great to keep with you at all times, but it's not necessarily accepted as an official document in certain cases. So just keep that in mind. Outside of the U.S. is a different situation. You will definitely need a travel signature from the International Center. The travel signature is on page 2 of your I-20. That's the 3-page document that you were emailed. and that you use to enter the U.S. So on page 2, right now, you most likely don't have a signature. But when you plan to travel for the first time, you need to stop by the International Center at least 2 weeks in advance and request a signature. Don't wait until the last minute. We might not be available. You can always leave the U.S. without the signature. However, you need it to return. It's valid for 1 year. So if you get a signature in September of 2020, it is valid until September of 2021. You can use it to return to the U.S. as many times as you want within that year. You also want to think about your visa and your passport. So if you're going to another country that's not your home, you may need a visa to enter. You'll need to look that up. And you definitely need a valid U.S. visa when you return to study back to the U.S. So we recommend that you double check all of this before traveling. Your passport also must be valid for 6 months into the future. And it's a good idea to keep copies of your financial documentation and your student ID with you when you do travel. Okay, another important part of your F1 visa here is employment. There's 2 kinds, so on-campus and off-campus. On-campus employment, everyone's eligible to work on campus as long as you are in good academic standing. So this means that you're employed by the University of Hartford or Aramark if you're working in dining services. Students in the past have worked in the library, the sports center, various offices and departments on campus. You need to be maintaining your legal F1 status, all of these rules we're talking about. And again, you need to be in good academic standing, so not on probation. You can work up to 20 hours each week during the semester. When school is on break, we have the winter break, summer, and even a week for spring break. You can work up to 40 hours during those times when classes are not in session. You can work as many jobs as you want. You just need to make sure you do not exceed the 20 hours a week. You'll need to, if you're going to work on campus, you need to apply for a Social Security number before you can start working. So the International Center can help you with that. You need to provide for us a copy of your job offer, and we have a template you can stop by and pick up and have your supervisor fill it out and sign it. And we will take that and give you a letter that you'll need to take to the Social Security office. You want to keep in mind that this process can take a few weeks, and you need the number before you can start working. There's not a whole lot we can do to speed this up, so plan ahead. And once you have the number, you don't have to apply again. So usually the first semester that you start working, it takes a little bit of time to get going, but then you don't have to deal with that process in the future. Okay, off-campus employment is a little bit more complex, and I'm going to start just by saying, don't begin any off-campus employment without talking to the International Center. Specifically, come and talk to me. Okay, so this is OPT and CPT. You might have heard of it before. You're not eligible for one academic year. You need to study a spring and a fall semester, a total of 9 months before you're eligible. So many of you starting out right now are not eligible for this. We run information sessions specific to off-campus employment, so I encourage you to attend those so you can find out all of those details. You're going to have to work in your field of study, and you need authorization. In order to work off campus, you must have the employment information and dates printed on page 2 of your I-20. If that's not there and you're working somewhere, that work is considered illegal, and it can't be undone. So if you're thinking about working somewhere that is not the University of Hartford, I suggest that you set up an appointment with our office to make sure you're not violating any immigration rules, and we can go over all of the details for your specific situation. Working illegally, even just one day, could result in termination, and then you cannot stay in the U.S. So it's very serious. And it does take time, depending. So it could take, depending on your situation, it could take a few days, a few weeks, a few months to get approved to work off campus. So it's not something that happens quickly. It definitely needs to be thought about, and the first step is to come and talk to our office. Okay, so if you have any questions about those basic rules, just as a reminder, we talked about full-time, we talked about enrollment, we talked about online classes, we talked about employment. If you have any questions about any of these topics and you're going to do something that involves some of these things, make sure you know the rules and regulations for your situation, and if you're unsure, send me an email, stop by, let us know, ask the questions so we can help you ahead of time. Because once you do something, sometimes it can't be undone. So come by and ask any questions. The other thing I mentioned is you need to check in and let us know that you're here in the U.S. Okay, and this is going to start your SEVIS registration. So I'm going to walk you through that process. I will share my screen here. Okay, so you should, now you're looking at our new student check-in. So this is a form that we're going to send you. Again, this is just for students in the U.S. You must be in the U.S. to fill out this form for fall 2020. You're going to need your documents in order to do so. So I already have my documents saved and on my computer. See here, I made a folder. So I have a list. I have my passport, I have my visa, I have my I-20, I have my admission stamp, and my I-94. If you're thinking, what are these documents? Here they are. Here's an example. So here's the passport. We just need this passport page, but we need all of this information here, including this barcode at the bottom. So you want to make sure that you take a nice picture or a scan of the entire information page of your passport. For some countries, it might be 2 pages, but for most, it's just this one page that looks like this. You want to save it as a PDF or a JPEG. You also need your visa. Here's a U.S. visa. Might be slightly different from yours. This is not a student visa, but it will look something like this. You also need your I-20. Looks like this. Says F1 at the top. It has a SEVIS number here, N00. It has your program information, all of the things that I was talking about that are reported. You also need from your passport your admission stamp from when you entered the U.S. So this should be recent. It's blue. It says F1D/S. It means you can stay in here the duration of your status, the duration of your F1 status. And it has the date that you arrived. That date is going to match your I-94 record. Here's your I-94 record. You're going to download this record from a website and print it. So you have to, the first step before you can fill out the form is you need to gather all of these documents. And I mentioned the I-94. We'll give you the link. The I-94 is from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection website that I'm showing you here. When you get to their website, you're going to click on Get I-94 Number Now. This is your arrival record from when you arrived in the U.S. It used to be a paper record, and now it's all electronic. So you need your passport in order to do this. When you get here, you're going to click on Get Most Recent I-94. You have to consent to their information here and continue. So when you're here, you have to put in your information exactly as it appears on your passport. Your name, first and last name, your birthday, passport number, and your country. And you click next. Okay, once you do that, they're going to give you your record. And if you don't have a printer, you can, from the website, you should be able to click print and change your printer to save PDF. Save as PDF, and you should be able to save that on your computer, and you can upload that right into our system. Okay? So once you have all those documents saved somewhere safely, you're going to start the check-in process. Okay. So here, you're going to put your information. I already typed in my name, a fake birthday, and my UHeart ID number, my email address. I'm using my Hartford one. You can use whatever you would like to be listed on your SEVIS record, your phone number, and then your address. So again, if you live on campus, you're going to type the university's address here, but don't forget, you need to use the second line. You have to tell us where your mail is going. So box 1234, I don't know. Okay, if you don't have a second line, you can leave that blank. West Hartford. Okay, so you fill in most of you are in Connecticut, and then you can click next page. Oops. I think I had my page sitting for too long. Sorry about that. So next, you're going to upload some of the documents that I talked about. So the I-94, passport, and visa. Okay, so you want to get your most recent I-94. Here's the website. But you can also just Google I-94 and you should be able to find it. So you're going to choose your file. I have mine here saved as I-94. Open, and there it is. All right, same thing with the passport details. I have my passport here, open, and all of my documents are PDFs, so this works. Now, I have my F1, I have my F1 visa or J1 visa. Add that. Make sure all these documents are clear so we can see everything. And you also want the entry stamp. Sometimes it's right next to the visa on the same page, so you might be able to upload the same document again. That would be fine. Or maybe you have just your entry stamp by itself, whatever is easier. The entry stamp goes there. Okay, next. Okay, you're not done yet. Now you need your SEVIS ID number. So I told you this is the number. It's on your I-20 if you're an F1 student. It's on your DS 2019 if you are a J visa. Starts with N, 2 zeros, and then it has some other numbers afterwards. It's not that many. And you also want to look in the middle of page 1. I want you to take a look and tell us when the program end date is on your I-20 or your DS-19. This is very important to know. If you don't graduate or finish your program by that date, you cannot legally stay in the U.S. without requesting more time. So I want you to look at that and make a mental note. Put a reminder in your calendar. If you're an undergrad student, it's going to be valid for about 4 years. So you might be looking at a date, maybe May 20th, 2024. It's going to be very off in the future, hopefully. If it's not that far in the future and it doesn't look to match around the time when you're going to graduate, let me know. It might be incorrect. But it should be around when you think you're going to graduate. It's okay if it's off by a semester or two. But keep that date in mind. Once that date comes, you need to make sure that you're graduating. If you're not, you have to let us know before. So if my I-20 is expiring on May 20th, I need to talk to the international student maybe in April and say, I didn't graduate yet. I need to take more classes. Can you help me? And we'll help you with that. Okay, so then you hit next. And now you're going to look at our international agreement form. This is all of the information with a little more detail that is important for you to follow while you're here studying. Okay, there's a lot. There's 13 different things. So you will look at this and read it on your own. And if you have any questions, that's why I'm here. You don't understand something, let me know. You want clarity, you want to talk about something, that's what I'm here for. Once you're sure that you understand it, you promise to follow all of the rules, you understand that they're your responsibilities, and you agree to them, you're going to type your name to confirm and sign. You're also going to put the date. And you don't have to write all these down. You're going to receive these in the email address that you gave us on page 1. Okay, so you hit submit and you're going to be done. And all of your information, including the documents, are going to show up in your email. So if you need to refer back to that, if you have any questions, you want to read it again, you have it in your email. Okay, so that is the whole check-in process. Now you're done. Once I receive that, I'm going to register your SEVIS record in that database that we talked about. And that's the first step. That's everything you need to do. So as a reminder, to start the check-in process, we'll send you the link, and you want to have all your documents ready or you can't complete it. You're going to scan or take photos of all of these documents. Your passport, the biographical information page should be the first 1 or 2 pages. Your U.S. visa, we don't need any other visas, we just need the one for your student visa, F or J, and your admission stamp from your recent entry. Your I-20, we only need page 1 and page 2 of your I-20, even though it's 3 pages. And your I-94, this needs to be obtained from the Customs Border Protection website. Once you have all of that, you can complete the SEVIS registration process. Okay, so if you have any questions about any of the things that we talked about today, here is our main email address, internatl@hartford.edu. This is our phone number. Right now, during the fall semester, because of the coronavirus, we have a limited staff that's in the office, so it's best that you email us. We're available by appointment only. So send us an email. We can answer your questions. We can schedule an appointment for you. This is the fastest way to reach all of our staff since we're not all in the office together every day. But if you do want to stop by, we are in the GSU, in the Student Union Room 309. Okay. So thank you for attending, and I wish you the best of luck this semester and with your studies here at the University of Hartford.